Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting Radio, your station for empowerment, music, and talk radio. EB Radio presents Empower Hour with Jaresha. A show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The Empower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Hello and welcome, amazing people. Welcome to Empower Hour with Jaresha. I am your host, Jaresha Moore-Smith, and a little bit about myself. I am a best-selling author with over 19 years of combined experience in education, finance, healthcare, business management, development, and sales. CEO and founder of Empower on Purpose, LLC, where we provide leadership training and personal professional coaching and consulting services, certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team, and owner of Envisioned Broadcasting radio station. So it's another day and another opportunity for you to be great and do great. And who doesn't like extra motivation as you go throughout your day? So if this is your first time listening and tuning into the show, every single week I share an empowerment quote, and today's quote says, "You can, you should, and if you're brave enough to start, you will." Now, we have talked about being brave and letting no one stop you from taking that step, but tonight I want to talk about you can and you will. See, I believe there is power in believing in yourself and affirming your greatness. We all know the should. So we know we should get up and exercise. We should we should drink water. We should eat healthy every single day. We should focus on accomplishing those goals and, really putting in that drive to get up and be great every single day. We should take action. We should this and we should that. We should, right? But when you focus on you can and you will, or I can and I will, you see that is sometimes where we run into the problem. That is where we lose our power, the power to believe that whatever that thing is, it's possible for you to achieve it. And so I wills generally come out in the daily actions that we take every single day. But let's just stop there for just a second, because many of us allow fear to stop us from being great, having great, and doing great. And let me tell you guys, tonight I truly, truly feel this thing. I truly feel it because there is so much power, and I can and I will. I can and I will is so powerful for your breakthrough. It's powerful for you to let your greatness shine. It's powerful for you to grow and succeed. I can and I will have made people launch Fortune 500 companies. It has made people hit their weight loss goals. I can and I will have made single moms go back to school and get their MBAs and doctorates. It has made people become best-selling authors. I can and I will have created entrepreneurs, CEOs, presidents, doctors, lawyers, politicians, pastors, and the list goes on. I can and I will have saved relationships. It has pushed people to be, do, and have what they want in life. I can and I will has transformed lives. And maybe you're listening right now and saying, you know what, I have been trying to speak this and own this I can and I will as my truth, but it's buried deep down, way deep down inside because of hurt, failure, disappointment, doubt, or whatever. Let me tell you something. When I was a single mom of four, struggling to make ends meet and going through storm after storm, I had to tell my situation, I can and I will. And at first, I'll tell you, it was a little weak, but I continued to affirm that I can and I will until it became stronger. So I say to you, if no one else, believes in you. I believe in you. And I believe you have the power to speak and own your I can and I will. So get up, stand strong, and speak. I can and I will over your situation, your life, and your greatness each and every day. Now the time has come for me to introduce my special guest for the evening. I am so excited to have Kiko Ellsworth as my guest this evening. Welcome to the show, Kiko. How are you?
Oh, my gosh. Ashe to everything you just said. And as you're listening to this, everybody, my brothers and my sisters, what she's saying, let that resonate in you, because you can. You can. And what she's saying, I affirm everything that she just said, because a lot of my life, I didn't think that I can. And it does start off weak. But you gotta trust in that word, and that word, keep saying it even when you don't believe it. That word is gonna convince your mind, and your mind is gonna start this cycle of empowerment for you. Just start saying it even if you don't believe it, and eventually you're gonna start building these little bricks. So I'm so glad that you are empowering your people. So just, receive what she just said, because it's so true. Thank you for having me. Bless you. Yeah. I love you, and I'm just so glad to be here. Thank you, my sister.
Absolutely. Well, I am so excited to have you on the show. So please tell us more about Kiko.
I am, I'm a child of the Most High, here to fulfill my divine life mission, to create the optimal, the best impact that I can with love and truth for all my brothers and sisters, here to be of service. I'm a father. I am a high-performance love and lifestyle coach, and I use all of my creativity to impact and empower and inspire others in the way that I'm meant to do it. And that's really me in a nutshell right there.
Yes, I love it. But now there's a lot more to that.
Oh, yeah.
So I want you to share. We have to get into the nitty gritty of it all.
Let's get into the gritty, the dirty. Let's get into all that stuff. Because I gave it a nice little pretty speech and everything, but it wasn't like that. It was dirty and ugly at first, and you got to transform it. But I'm sure you know all about that.
Absolutely. Yes. So I would love it, because I know that, creator, Kiko the creator, the producer, the director. Tell us more about what you've produced and directed over the years.
Well, before I even got into that, if I may, I want to go back before that. I got into the entertainment industry as an actor. And even before that, the reason why I got into the acting industry is because I kind of got forced into it. But the reason why I really kind of stayed is because friends forced me to start acting, and then I ended up having stage fright on the stage. And I don't know if you've ever, had, someone's hands on your throat, or stage fright, or feeling like you couldn't breathe, or claustrophobic. All that stuff is pretty much synonymous to what I'm talking about. But I was on stage with this stage fright, and I felt like some 6-7 foot tall man's hands were choking me, and I was trying to get these acting lines out, and I could barely get them out, and I was talking all breathy, and I was trying to say my lines, and they were coming out breathy like this. And then my coach, she yelled at me. She was like, "Just talk, Kiko. Stop talking all breathy. Just say your lines." And I'm like, God, I actually really try. I'm trying to, but I can't, because my throat is collapsing in on me from all this fear. I couldn't even say the words. And so I got off the stage, and I shook it off, and I said, okay, that's some BS. That's not me. That's not the truth. I got to face this fear. And it really just became all about, really expressing myself truthfully. And that's why I got into acting. And then the acting evolved over the years, into directing and producing, and I've produced a couple of films and a horror film, and, not very proud about that. That's actually one of the worst projects I was ever a part of that was years ago. And so I started really producing with the type of people I should produce and the things that I should produce. But, you got to make mistakes along the way. So that was, produce that sort of thing, and we produce other content. And, really to this day, how it's evolved, producing and directing, we created our own production company and really started producing more of inspirational, educational content, live streaming, yoga courses, courses that empower people, that teach them how to live a particular life and give them the tools that they need to not only survive but to thrive. So we've progressed into that sort of content, and now we're coming full circle and getting back into scripted content. And we just recently produced a online virtual summit called Evolving Men of Color, and that was just like a couple of weeks ago. And we had an online summit. It was an all-day summit of all men, and we had one panel that was filled with women as well. And it was basically a celebration of evolving men of color and looking at our issues, challenges, and tools, and empowering each other, and really showing each other in a good light and really championing us all forward. And then we also we live stream that entire summit, like an entire conference all day long, like 10 hours. And then we've created that into a series, because we recorded the content. So we created that into a series that's able to be redistributed and provide value to our brothers and sisters out there, so we can see ourselves more in a positive light, because we all know how important that is. So that's where we're at in the middle of our journey right now as far as producing and directing.
Well, that's truly amazing. And so I definitely would love for you to share more about that platform and, some of the things that you're able to provide. But I want to back up just a little bit. I know that at some point something amazing happened, and I truly would love for you to share with us what made you truly want to change your lifestyle from, then to now. So what happened in your life? If you can share a little bit more details as far as that.
Sure. Well, I'll specifically, speak about the portion of where I walked away from the entertainment industry. And I dropped, my manager first, and then I dropped my theatrical agent, and then I dropped my commercial and voiceover agent on the same day. And that was one of the happiest days when I had that. Because usually those kind of conversations, when you tell somebody you're fired, you're kind of dreading that sort of conversation. But I was just so clear, when I was dropping my voiceover and commercial agent, I was just so clear about the direction of my life, and that I was stepping onto a path that was true to my soul. I knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing. So, I walked away from the entertainment industry, and it was going great, but my soul was like a black hole, and it wasn't getting the fulfillment that it needed. You could be getting the money, you could be getting, flying over in the red carpet or doing movies and doing TV and doing those things, but if it's not in alignment with your soul and the purpose and why you were born, it's not going to fulfill you. And so, what had me change was really walking away from that and knowing that I needed to do something. I needed to have a foundation of me. And I have a saying that I tell like my clients or my students, and I tell them, I say this with all the soul power that I have. I was like, look, once you have you have everything. You don't need nothing else, because with you, you can do, create, and be and navigate anywhere you got to go, but you got to have you. You know what I'm saying? So, and oftentimes we get confused about what is me, where am I coming from? So, me wanting to have a hold of me, like if you can imagine like making a fist and like putting that fist right inside of your stomach. And I've always wanted to have a hold of me. Like if you could imagine getting a hold of yourself inside of that third chakra, inside of that navel point, like really owning your power center right there. I've always wanted that power center. So when I walked away from the industry and really started discovering, okay, who am I energetically? How can I start building my energetic foundation, my spiritual foundation? Well, however you want to, talk about it, whatever words you want to use, who I am on the inside as opposed to who I am physically and materialistic in the outer world. that's when things started shifting, when I really started investing just as much, if not more time into my inner world as I was investing into my outer world. Then I started building a real foundation for my life that gave me the identity, the love, the true loving power that I need to have the life that I truly want.
Absolutely. That's so good. I love how, I just think it's so important for all of us, to know that it's so important to invest in knowing who you are. Of course we can see that from the external, but when you truly know who you are inside, I feel like it's just, of course for me it's all about purpose and, recognizing the greatness within. And I truly feel like we are not living until we recognize that greatness within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so good. That's so good. And so I know that you also, in your experience, there was some fundamental problems in, romantic relationships and all of that. Could you share a little bit more about that experience with us?
Yeah, that's an amazing, because look, we all want to have romance. We all, a lot of us want to get married. A lot of us want to date. A lot of us want to be loved by a significant other. And, what I've come to learn personally in my experiences is that, all of that can be very confusing. Dating can be confusing. You know how it is. You go out, let's just say, we've all been out on a first date, probably lots of first dates, right? Mm-hmm. And you sit across from this person, when we were, sitting across from each other without an issue, and you'd ask these questions and you want to make sure you look good and put your best foot forward, and you got your clothes on, you're all shaved and looking good and smelling good, and you want to impress the other person and show them who you really are, maybe, or your best side. And I got to a point where it wasn't about the dating, but it was about what are we doing here? Is this the relationship? And I was married for almost 8 years, and I come to realize that the romance in the nature of our relationship it makes things very confusing. When you talk about foundational relationship, we tend to put romance in there. But what I've come to realize is that when you talk about the fundamental relationship, let's just say between like you and me as a man and a woman, romance is not fundamental to our relationship as man, as woman. It's not fundamental, and a lot of us, when we put that in there, it confuses things because it doesn't allow us to truly love each other at a fundamental love level. And I'm not talking about just like love, like fluffy love, like, oh, happy Valentine's Day, or romantic love. Those things, yeah, they can overlap with love, right? That's they can. But those are not fundamental elements of love or true love. Whatever you want, it's just not fundamental. It doesn't make it up. They come and go, yeah. But when you talk about that, what's required to have love, and when I work with, women or people, or if I'm talking, it takes a lot, because we've learned to integrate romance with love. And oftentimes I find myself, so many ways, and sometimes beating it out of somebody's head when I'm working with them. Like, look, I was like, we have to remove romance from your mind right now. And if I'm talking to coaching a woman about her relationship with her man or husband or whatever the case may be, I'm like, remove the romance. Let's see if we can do that. And it's usually a process, because it's been so ingrained in us to include romance with love. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can say, Jaresha, I love you. I love you, my divine sister. And I don't mean anything sexual by that. There's no romance in that. You see what I'm saying? I can say, I love you to my brother and not feel like I'm less of a man, because there's no romance in that. I'm clear about my love for my brother or my sister. Now we're getting like into fundamental love. That's what I've come to discover. That's where true power is. Knowing who you are is when you start to tap into that level of love for others, but even before that, love of self. Now, it's like, and then we revisit removing the romance, removing the sex, removing all these things from the container so we can have a clear vision on what love is for self and for each other. So now we jump back into a relationship, right, for, husband and wife. Being able to remove the romance, and we're talking about what is the essential aspects of love, and what's the essential nature of man and woman or our relationship, and what do you think that is? If you're listening, what do you think that is? Like, really think about that, because it ain't romance. It's not sex. So what's the foundational element of true love or loving one another, And so, as you're thinking about that, what I've come to discover and looking particularly at romantic relationships is that it obviously has nothing to do with romance, but when we look at a man and a woman, the true nature of love in our relationship, right, has everything to do with us being co-creators together. It has everything to do with creativity. Now, like, I don't know if anyone's familiar with your chakras. I'm also a Kundalini yoga teacher, and so we have these chakras, these energy centers, right? So we have the one that's at the base of our spine at the bottom, right? That's our root chakra. That's our survival. Then we have the one that's a little above that, which is like right where our sexual organs are at. We have that second chakra. That's that creativity, passion, area, sexuality. That's in that second chakra. And then the one right above that is the one I talked about, the third one, right in that navel point. That's that power center, like that battery, that warrior, that part right there. But like going back down to that second one, that's creativity. But it also overlaps with, sometimes we automatically think that it's sexual. But when we really start to unpack that, the act of sex or procreation is about creativity. So when we have, sex, really the core part of that act is about creation together. And if we can create that initial creation together, which is a child, then we can create other things, right? But we can't create anything else unless we create that child. But that's a creative act. That's a creative act. That's the ultimate creation that we as men and women have. That's the ultimate creation. Without that primal creation, we have no other creation, and we can't create anything else. So, getting that, bringing that full circle when we talk about like love, being able to see each other clearly, being able to see our wife clearly, and moving that romance aside. You can layer that in like later on when we bring that in. But once we can start to see each other clearly, see the creative being, see the essence, know how to love somebody clearly, but first loving ourselves, right? Then we can truly start to love our brothers and sisters. And then when you think about loving your brothers and sisters, like when you love your sister, like what do you want for your sister? Like I have a former wife that I supported. I helped her move into her house with her boyfriend. I helped her move out of our house when we sold it and into the house with her boyfriend. We were co-parenting for a little while, and I helped her move into a relationship because I love my sister. First, she's my sister before anything else. She's my sister before anything else. And so I helped her with that. I helped her move out. I helped her with all these processes, and we still, to this day, actually to today, we are still creating together. The romance is not there, but the creative love is there. And So I'll just like end that with that, like that, getting that really clear and being able to be clear about the foundational elements of our romantic relationships and then layering the romance in after that truly helps the relationship reach its potential, what it truly can be.
Absolutely. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yes, and I think that is a perfect kind of segue into that relationship empowerment that you were, kind of speaking on with your platform. So tell us more about your online platform that provides the transformational learning and relationship empowerment and soul success.
Sure. Yeah, so I grew up, there's hoods all over the place. I grew up in South Central LA, and, there's not a lot of resources there for personal empowerment, and whether it be in Chicago or Ohio or anywhere, when you reach, the underserved, under-resourced, the hoods in those areas of the world, you just don't have a lot of resources to develop yourself to really live a life of thriving. We got what it takes to survive, but we didn't come here just to survive. We came here to survive so then that can progress and evolve into thriving. So, throughout the years, I've always had a desire myself to thrive, to go from surviving to thriving. And I think the natural process for all of us in our experience is that when we move from a place of surviving and we start thriving ourselves, you naturally want to express that and give that to someone else. You naturally want to share it. You want to give someone else the ability to go beyond surviving into thriving or into expressing their mission. And really, this platform is to provide tools to people or communities that don't readily have access to these types of tools, so they can start to implement practices like yoga and breath work and female empowerment, how to take care of yourself, whether internally, like particularly with women, like taking care of yourself emotionally, mentally, knowing who you are, like you mentioned earlier, Jaresha, like you got to know who you are, because then from that place you can really start to express yourself authentically and your power, but you got to have that deep alignment. So, and then also how to defend yourself. Sometimes we need to know how to defend ourselves physically, and a lot of times, most of the time, it's mentally and emotionally, knowing how to have healthy boundaries. So, our online school that we launched last year was really like an accumulation of the practices and things that I've learned over the years. And we also are starting to have other teachers in the school, and it's called Ma'at University. And for those of you that are familiar with Ma'at, then you already know. But Ma'at is a African sort of goddess concept that stands for truth, justice, order, harmony, balance, righteousness, reciprocity, and a way of living where those principles are predominant in the way we live. So my university really holds that space and actually delivers these courses to a community. So we can thrive. So we can thrive. So that's the online school that we have.
Absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's so important for, as you've mentioned, as we are empowered, we will empower others and help others so that they can thrive as well. And so that's very, very inspirational. But share with us what makes you feel inspired or really feel like you are being your best self.
Yeah. Let's see. There's a variety of things. I think I'll talk about being a man. Let me talk about inspired as a man. That's a subject that I love and a subject that I work with a lot of men these days. So what inspires me particularly as a man? And I think I got to go back in time to the first thing the first time I felt like a man. So let me just say, like, most of my life I didn't feel like a man. I could look at other men on TV or whatever, you know, someone like a Idris Elba or something like that, and I'm like, look, he's in his manpower. You know, he's expressing his, I can feel it, you know. But most of the time I didn't feel like I was a man. And really what that boiled down to for me was about having balanced energy in me, about balancing my energy, my yin-yang energy within me, my forward-backward energy, my sun-moon energy, my masculine-feminine energy. It was about balance. So I was out of balance my entire life. So when I look at the first time that I really was inspired and really felt like a man, it had everything to do with giving that sort of empowerment to someone else. So back in the day, you know, we would have, when I was teaching particularly self-defense, when I was the vice president of a domestic violence nonprofit, and we were teaching these rape prevention seminars. And I remember one of the first ones, you know, women will come in all, you know, scared and kind of like these little white mice and afraid to be squished, and, you know, but after a couple hours, things started to change dramatically, right? So there's this one woman, I remember I was struggling with her, and, you know, after a couple hours, I was struggling with her because I was trying to get her to take me down. We were going through takedowns, and I was trying to get her to take me down. And this particular takedown is, and for all you that remember, like, remember this, it's like the most key elements is eyes, throat, and groin. Those are the most sensitive on anybody. So just remember that, eyes, throat, groin, eyes, throat, groin, eyes, throat, groin, right? And this particular element was about the concept of wherever the head goes, the body follows, right? So we were training her to strike my eyes, which is the most vulnerable part of anybody's body. So all women, remember that, the eyes, right? And so we were training her to strike the eyes and then to pull my hair from the back and pull it down to take me down, right? So she would strike my eyes and off-balance me and then, like, really express herself and pull the back of my hair down to the ground. So she would literally be able to take someone that's almost twice her size down if she would go this thing. So she was only struggling. Now, most women, they struggle emotionally. They don't struggle physically. They struggle either emotionally or mentally. Usually it's emotionally. And usually it's always, I want to say 90% of the time, I push a woman until she says it, because I know she's about to say it, but I push her because I have to have her say it. And I push her until she says, but I don't want to hurt you. And I'm like, thank you for saying that, so we got to get this out of the way, because that's an emotional block, right? So anyways, I was struggling with her to get through that. Long story short, she breaks through. She gets through it. She finally takes me down. Like, she slams me down. She pulls my hair and takes me down, right? I got to tell you, yo, I popped up like a phoenix on fire, and I was yelling at her in the most empowering way. I was like, yes. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you ragdoll me. That's how you take somebody down. And that's when I was like, whoa. I was like, what is this? What is this feeling I have? Like, I am, not only am I inspired, but I, like, feel real. I feel like a man. I feel affirmed. I feel here for the first time in my life. Like, all of the dots, the lights in me were connected, right? But it was when I held the space for her to fully express her identity, her femininity, her power, her voice, express herself, right? Express her soul, express all of who she is. And in that moment, it was about expressing herself physically, where she was blocking, right? Where she was blocked. So that was the first time I experienced it. So smash forward several years, you know, me and my wife, my former wife, we didn't have a divorce. We had a completion ceremony. So just think of a divorce, but think of it flipped on the other side, you know, completing it, but everything positive. Like, our completion ceremony was more beautiful than our wedding. And our wedding, everybody knew I was crying. And our completion ceremony was more beautiful than that. And it was just her and me, and it was an impromptu in my garage studio. But basically, you know, when she came to me and asked for my blessing, because she was, at the time, we were co-parenting, and we said, okay, we're gonna call it. She had been dating this guy for, I don't know, a year or something like that, but she had hit a block as well in their relationship. And she basically came to me and she said, you know, I hit a block in my relationship, and, you know, I would love it if you would give me your blessing to give this man my heart. And again, remember, I know some of y'all are having a hard time with this, but you got to remember now, listen, love, it's got nothing to do with romance. It's got nothing to do with my attachment. I don't own her, right? It's got nothing to do with my personal investment in her in that particular way, like what she can do for me. Somebody told me, one of my mentors told me, it's divinity before humanity. Like, she's my divine sister before she's my ex-wife. Like, what do I want for her? Of course I want her to be loved. Just because it's not me, we got to be mature about a relationship.
That's right.
Just because it's not me, do I not want that for my soul sister? Come on, grow up. We got to manage our thoughts and manage those emotions, right? It's not about you. It's not about me, right? It's about making that choice and really standing for love. So, yes, yes, of course I give you my blessing. I give you my blessing. Of course I want you. And we went through this. Man, it was the most amazing experience. It was like 5 emotions wrapped in one. We were crying. We were in awe. We were scared. We were happy. It was overjoyed. It was all these emotions at once. And that was in my entire marriage, I didn't know I was behind. I was like failing the entire time, the whole 7 years. I was never taught. I didn't know how to show up as a being, as a man, in a relationship, as a provider. I didn't know. I didn't have it modeled for me. I didn't connect the dots. But that day, at the end of the relationship, when we had that completion ceremony, giving her my heart, giving her my true love, giving her my blessing, through my words, expressing it, truly meaning it, opening up my heart, you know what I'm saying? Having that masculine, having that feminine, really being there for her, giving her. That's when I entered my full, healthy manhood for the first time, or stayed permanently in my manhood. That was, I want to say, really started off really like the biggest inspirational moment in my life, is being able to give women the blessing of, you know, who I am as a man. And, you know, I'll just say this, you know, like the core element of a man, what I've learned is that we protect and we provide and we lead. You know, we protect their hearts. You know what I'm saying? We provide the things that we need to provide so they can survive and thrive. And we lead being the best version of ourselves for ourselves, for our families, for our communities. You see what I'm saying? And in that moment, I didn't know it, but like that's what I was doing. And I was loving her, but I was loving myself. And I didn't get it until that moment. So I could talk about that for decades, but that's my whole point on this planet. Like, seriously, Jaresha, like that right there, boom, that takes the cake right there for me, and it all builds from that.
Yes, I love that. I absolutely love it. I'm like you. I love I have never heard of a completion ceremony, and I love it. I really do. I absolutely love it. You are teaching us tonight. Absolutely love it. So if you had one more thing before you go, if I may. Sorry for cutting you off, my sister.
No. But just because it will provide value, and I don't know how we'll do this, but like I told you, we just had the summit, right? We just had that Evolving Men of Color summit. Me and my former wife spoke in a panel, and we talked about this. It was her and me sitting next to each other talking about 45 minutes. You know, we got interviews and stuff like that. But if it provides any value for anybody, like we'll share that in some particular way that provides value. So if someone is in a because that can truly help people, know, because we don't have to have a divorce. We don't have to tear our relationship apart. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, do that sort of thing. You don't have to go through lawyers and tear the relationship and damage the kids and spend all this money and move out. And I would suggest if you're going through it, unless it's, a safety thing, that you don't move out right away, that you learn to heal things and start to see each other properly. So anyways, but I want to make that available, for your viewers or anyone that's listening, because it might really, truly help people and help some kids and help some families not go through some pain.
Absolutely, yeah. And I, having been through my own divorce, I can definitely, it is one of the most ugliest things that you can ever go through. At least that was my experience. And I'm sure there's so many people out there listening that can, that would agree that it just brings out the ugly in everybody. And, fast forward, the beauty in it all is, we were able to learn to get along with each other for the kids. And, now we have a better relationship than we did when we were married. But I think, yes, I definitely think I would love for you to be able to share that information with any of those that are listening, just because I think it's so much value in it. If you're in the process of going through a divorce, or, it just to know that someone has experienced it and not gone through the ugliness of it all. So, yes, thank you for, definitely offering that as a resource for the listeners to learn more.
Yeah,
so what
absolutely.
What would you say then is, if you could, just give one piece of advice to all of those that are listening out there on how they can, truly empower their own growth and success journey, what would that be?
To empower their own success journey, it's going to there's so much. It's going to be in the area of investing in yourself in a day-to-day basis, starting to start small, and learning how to invest in yourself on a day-to-day basis. I wouldn't start big, and so what that may mean, because investing in yourself looks different for everybody. Mm-hmm. Everyone's mission is different. Not everyone's supposed to have a thriving worldwide radio show like you. You know what I'm saying? It's like if someone else is supposed to be doing something, teaching or in the school, or just being a husband or whatever the case may be, a teacher, right? So, and those all are different ways of investing in themselves. But I think if we learn, each of us learn how to pay attention to what we need, what you need on the inside, it starts there. We have to go internal to start listening to hearing the voice of your own intuition, to start hearing it. Some of us are very external. We pay attention to everything in the external world, but we never have any time to have alone time to really hear, and we never stop, right? We just go. Mm-hmm. So this is all I'm saying, all the same thing. It's really learn how to invest in yourself starting off at a small level on a day-to-day. What does that look like? Sometimes it might be just having alone time on a consistent basis, right? And having your own thoughts and knowing and putting your hand on your heart and doing some breathing. Sometimes it'll start from there, but start somewhere small and start investing in yourself, because once you start going internal, once you start hearing your intuition habitually on a day-to-day basis, it's just like when you said at the beginning of this radio show, I can and I will, right? Mm-hmm. When you start, when you start saying it will build, right? You'll start to believe it. It'll start to build. Well, same thing with the intuition. You start just investing in your intuition on a day-to-day basis, because your intuition will evolve you. And our intuition is always accurate, 100%. Even if it takes us through some pain, it's still accurate no matter what. We might not be able to see it, but it's still accurate. So developing that relationship with the intuition on a day-to-day basis, going internal, and learning how to, and being patient with yourself, because it's an ongoing process. I'm still finding better ways to, for myself as well. Mm-hmm. But I've gotten into a good, you get into a good groove with it, right? And absolutely. So I would say, learning how to invest in yourself, your intuition on a day-to-day basis, so you can hear who you truly are and the messages that you're saying to yourself on a day-to-day basis better and better and better. So that's what I would say, invest in yourself. And what I mean is investing in hearing your intuition, investing in that. And then you'll naturally start to take action immediately once you start hearing it. That has to be expressed. You can't just hear it and ignore it. That'll be like a cancer. You got to hear it and take action on it. Just like you heard your intuition, and then you created this show. You heard your calling, and you took action. That started from within. No one had to tell you that. You had a desire that's now finally being expressed. That's why it's so beautiful. Your platform, it's so expressive. It's so we can tell that it is you, but it's not just your the outside. We look at your platform, the Empower Hour, all this everything that you got going on, Jaresha. It's an expression of your intuition, your insides. It's an expression of your energy inside of your body, your heart, your soul. It's an expression of that, right? But you had to listen and hear it first. And then it's like it starts to snowball. So that's what I would say is invest in your intuition and allowing it to snowball so you can express it consistently.
Absolutely. Love that. Love it, love it, love it. Absolutely. So I know that you mentioned that you just had the conference that you did. Do you have anything else that's coming up, any events or anything that you want to share with us?
Yeah, let me just say, because you brought back what I wanted to say, because I wanted to share that with viewers. I'm going to share that particular video. I'm going to link it to my link in bio on my Instagram. My Instagram is at Kiko Ellsworth. And so I'm going to put that particular video to make just real easy access for the next week. So until next Wednesday, I'm going to put that on my Instagram video. So if anyone wants to watch that session, if they're going through something with their husband, significant other, I'm going to put that in my link in bio on my Instagram so that you can actually view that. And you just scroll down, you'll see it'll say something like, is it possible to love even more after like divorce or something like that? It'll have a title like that. You'll see the button and everything. We'll have a picture and stuff like that. So that's the first thing that I want to say. But what I have coming up right now is, I actually am I'm creating a high performance love and lifestyle program, and that's going to be launching this summer, and that's going to be a group coaching element because right now we do private coaching. But now we want to definitely have more inspirational impact for brothers, for sisters, and so that program is going to be launched this summer. So if you stay attached to me, if you continue and stay in touch with me, you'll get to see how you can have high performance love for yourself, just like everything we just talked about. But it takes a process on actually how do I love myself in a high performance way, because the classic saying is accurate, but it's so cliche, right? You can't love somebody else until you love yourself first. But we don't know what the heck that means. Like, what does that mean? Like, how does that look like today? In this moment, next 10 minutes, what does that look like to love myself? What does that look like in action, in integration into my life? So it's important to really go dive deep into that. So, high performance love of self, high performance love in a relationship, right? And then that also naturally expresses into a lifestyle, because they all work together. Like your lifestyle is going to support you, and it's going to be an expression of your love for yourself. And it's going to allow everything, this world, to happen within you, and for you to express it. So we're having that group coaching program launching this summer. But right now we have just basically private coaching, relationship coaching, and stuff like that. But we definitely want to make more impact. So that's something that we're about to launch this summer sometime.
Awesome. And I know you shared your Instagram handle, but how else can the listeners stay connected with you and support your efforts?
Really, you can find me. Everything is really from there. I mean, it's Kiko Ellsworth with 2 L's, KikoEllsworth. New website is going to be launching in 2 weeks, which is KikoEllsworth.com, and the school is maatuniversity.co. But really, for ease, if you're an Instagram or if you're a social media person, just my Instagram and then my link in bio. There's links to everything in my link in bio. So we want to keep it nice and streamlined and easy right there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. This has been absolutely amazing. I thank you so much for being a guest on the show, Kiko. This has been truly, truly amazing. And I know that you have shared so much, so much knowledge and information. And I know that all the listeners will definitely, be able to really feel empowered and, want to connect with you and to be able to learn more. So I thank you so much for being a guest on the show this evening.
Such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. Thank you. If I can be of service in any particular way, then I'm here, definitely to serve and to do what I can in my experience. Because look, at the end of the day, none of us started out this way. None of us started out this way, in our own love or in our own power or empowered, And in fact, a lot of us start off in the opposite. I was shy and, stage fright and, living a toxic life. But we all can do it, especially if we have the support. We can cut down our learning curve and put inspiration in our lives that we need to. So, any way that I can support, inspire, empower, I'm here to do. Just reach out to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, listeners, I truly hope that you've enjoyed the show tonight. If you're interested in starting your own show or being a guest on the show to share your amazing story and journey to equip, encourage, and empower others for growth and success, please email envisionb@empoweronpurpose.com. Please tune in next week where you will hear an amazing story and journey from another leader, influencer, and motivator. Until next time, stay safe and be blessed.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Hour with Jaresha, where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journey in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @JareshaMoore, and visit www.empoweronpurpose.com. Remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.